talking about the finances earlier, just want to remind everyone that we have not spent any ESSER money yet. So everything for this year. So everything that we have done is Amy, but it's on our own 2 feet. So for this year, so we still have that to spend, and in these designated areas. But so budget wise, it's very promising considering we haven't put into that.
Yeah,
So
we're still doing okay.
Yeah. And along with that, Lonnie had made contact with Central Buses, and I think they maybe had found us a couple of buses that we got some pricing on. And that was already approved and in the budget for this year, but we couldn't find that number of passenger bus that we were looking for. They couldn't find them. If we got, and I have to ask Lonnie, I don't remember for sure, but I think 65 is what we're looking for. If we went to the next bigger one, it was too long for our bus barn. And so he wanted the 65 because he could get it in the bus barn. So anyway, just an update on that, we may have financed buses. So, and then also, I just want to, I can't say too much on it right now, but I want to let you be aware that the initial APR has been released to us, and it is embargoed through March 7th, but there's a few things that we're working through with DESE, some reporting issues statewide that they're cleaning up on their end, and then anything that we need to do on our end before those are released statewide. So those are in
March what?
I believe it's March 7th. I think it's the 7th. But so our I had a webinar today on it, and they kind of took us through some of the process that they have done, and then some of the steps moving forward. So there won't be any changes after the 28th, and then that gives them time to do their part before they release it to the public after the 7th. So that'll be coming. That's February. Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick. Now, it is also important, we can talk about this more later when we talk about the APR in detail. This is the first round, so this is the pilot MSIP, because it's the new cycle. So on the accountability piece, that it was kind of weird how everything fell, because in 2019, I'm trying to get all my dates right. 2019 was when MSIP 5 ended. MSIP 6 was supposed to start in 2020. We had the pandemic, which pushed everything back. So this is our first year of actually receiving APR for MSIP 6. So
What a mess.
what a mess. Yeah. But we're getting, we're as a state, we're getting back moving again.
Any questions, Mr. Shaw? Okay. We'll move on to our facilities and construction items, updates on our facility projects.
I talked to our roofer, and he said the materials are ordered, and all he's waiting on is weather now. So he's ready to go as soon as the weather clears up. And then
What temperature does he have to be at?
I don't
I think
remember.
he said at least above 60.
Yeah.
He told us
But
it
it
had
had
to.
But it had to stay there.
Yeah.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah, it's good.
Or 65. Yeah.
We might hit it, but it
April.
doesn't sustain it very long.
Yeah.
And then in the ag building, you guys, some of you were able to see, we've got insulation going in, and so as soon as that is done, we're able to start drywall and progressing nicely. The St. Robert Glass is putting in the storefront wall. We got a piece of it up down there, and York Electric is finishing in the shop.
gonna be a nice space.
When we get that,
Turn it
done, we
over.
ought to have an open house in there, so everybody can kind of see how that's all changed through the years. You know.
Yeah.
And I still, guys, as old as me, both vocation doing, took typing in there.
Well, I'd seen
Had
over
to
in
sit
that
in
one
the
corner
room.
where your initials were carved in that. I didn't know if that was you or.
Was it in the corner?
I was always in the
Yeah, it's in the corner, yeah.
Right by her desk, because I was as fast as, I wasn't very fast. They set my speed, and my speed was really, really slow. I did do the most improvement though there. I went from a 4 per minute to 32. 32. Isn't that amazing? I still remember that. But anyway,
Are you back to 4 now?
I'm like 28 now. No, not really. Yeah.
Mr. Brookshire, do you have anything you wanted to add to
No,
the?
installation will be done tomorrow, looks like, so.
Yeah, it's real close. Looks
Yeah.
good. Anyway, when that gets all finished, we ought to have
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'd like to have an open house when we get done and let people walk through it.
Yep, I
I
think
think that would be a good idea.
And that's a short off.
And they can also at the same time see the new Hall of Fame and the work that's been done there. So, I mean, that looks really nice in there. If you haven't seen the new Hall of Fame, it's in the old high school principal's office. And it's really cool. Looks really nice. It's laid out really easily to walk through and see. And that's open any time. But sure, if you haven't seen that, it should be worth a minute or two to walk through there. See if you recognize any faces of folks you might know or used to know or thought you did know. Anyway, there's lots of memorabilia in there that really neat to look at. So I congratulate, I thank Mrs. Buffington and Mrs. Guffey who worked really hard on putting that all back together and getting it back into the showcases and making it presentable to look at. So again, if you get a chance to look through there someday, worth a visit to look through.
And I have to add to that, Carl and Dave and the crew.
Sure, I
helped
mean, it's
them-
not
helped
just,
them a lot
yeah,
too.
we had a lot of movement, a lot of things to move, so. Okay, anything else for projects, doors, where we at on doors?
Doors, we are right in the middle of getting the key fobs put in. So all the exterior doors, the new doors are installed.
Okay.
And Steve is going to be here on Saturday to start working. They started the process running wire, but they hadn't had power to some of those doors. And so the electricians have got, doing a rough count here, but a little over half of those done today. And we'll get the rest of them done tomorrow, so Steve can get those hooked up. And so, once those files are hooked up, then we can be ready to go. They're totally magnetic.
Yeah.
Yep. So, the only other thing I'd say, and nothing,
So I assume we'll stay all magnetic all during the school day and then at night still lock,
Yes.
right?
Yep. The only time we don't is for events.
Sure,
You know,
I
so,
understand that. I just mean,
and that's not all doors, it's just certain ones. So,
sure. Go ahead.
Well, I don't, just something to think about and let it marinate. We don't have to do anything real quick, just let it marinate.
Oh, that's
But we
scary.
may have to come to a decision on the sycamore tree.
Oh,
So,
Cut it up here.
yeah, so, just,
That's not, just cut it down.
so anyway, I just throw that out there because it's.
Have we had any bids in the past from what it would cost to take it down?
You seen the sidewall?
Yeah.
Wait
That
till,
one down here by
just
the-
cut it down.
Did we have any bids from before on what it would be a guesstimate to take that down?
No, when we had them trim those others, I don't think they did the removal. Now, Amy, do you remember?
I'll be honest, I don't remember.
That's okay.
The only thing I remember was the bid for trimming. so-
That's fine. It's gonna be
Make
different.
sure it's insured, because if it falls, we'll end up owning the whole,
Let's get some bids. Get some
and take out every one of those houses.
Yeah, we can just be done with it.
Yep.
Let's see what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
Thanks you.
We can go from there.
It's a nice tree, but it's kind of in the wrong spot. They're really nice. These.
Really?
How does he feel about it?
You told you.
There's a
Cut it
nice-
down, it's worth it.
I like that they start with bark, make sure white at the top, and it's got nice big broad leaves.
Yeah.
Do you even know about sycamores? Yeah.
Cut it down.
You're a hater. You're a hater.
There it is.
That was the last thing I had.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
All right, anything else on the projects, I guess everything else is going. Elementary office is completely finished, and all that's worked out well.
Yes. The,
The only thing we're really working on now, the hallway is completed.
with, windows are the last thing.
Okay.
Windows, and we got to put hardware in the emergency exit door.
Okay.
So,
And then that'll be
and
finished.
it'll be finished.
Then all we
Well,
got.
it'll be finished once the key fob says
Sure.
well, so.
Then once we finish with that, then we'll be only waiting on the active. Right?
Yes. The, yeah, the only thing left office-wise that, and you guys can, you'll jump in, correct me if I'm wrong, but, the records rooms in the high school office, as Amy gets time to go through those and determine what needs to go where. That's the only thing that is still in there that we're working on. It's not any construction, it's just moving, you know. When she gets to it and can get one filing cabinet empty, then we move that filing cabinet out, and Mr. Talent gets happy because he's got, you know, another 2x4 space.
Another spot to put some more on.
Yeah, so.
I gotta say, I like the window wrap on the entry doors coming in too. That's nice.
Both entrances, put that window wrap on there it helps with
All kinds of
visual
things.
appeal, but also with some safety issues too.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a good idea. Looks nice. We'll move on to our action items. First on our action items is the school calendar. Yep, I know.
And I've got paper copies with you.
Did you ever get it in there?
Yeah, they're in there.
Okay. I didn't get to-
Well, they should be in there.
Never saw them, but then I did look this
Mr.
out.
Talent, my thing on Misha shows that the boys play at 5 on the 20th, and the girls play at 4:30.
I seen the girls at 4:30, but I could have swore I saw.
But anyway, I just, you may want to call up, mine,
So,
can I have another one, or two?
there's more than one channel. Maybe Mark, I'll say-
Yes, so calendar, just in the top,
see it.
right
I
there,
see it.
yeah.
Not very big, but
It's not, I know. And so as you guys look at these, we do not have to make a decision. If you want to think on this, and we'll come back to it next month, but there's a couple things. Calendar A is most closely resembles the calendar that we had this year.
Is there just the two?
Yeah, just the two, yeah. There were three that we looked at as a staff, and then I tried to take the things that the teachers, from their comments, and put that down to two. And there's a couple things that we were able to do, there's some things that we can't do. You know, we can't start school before August 22nd. That's state mandated. In order to get all of the hours in that we're required to get, it gets really limited on what you can do on a 4-day week and still get out by Memorial Day. So, on both of these calendars, we have all of the hours built in for snow days, so there's not any snow days that we would have to make up. In order to do that, you got to have 1104 in your 1,104 hours built into your calendar. We are required to have 1044 student hours minimum in our calendar. So we could make some changes to that. I don't know how we would make changes to it and not make up snow days. So
B's going an extra day.
without coming back after Memorial Day, yeah, say that again.
B is going one more day than A.
B has one more student day, yeah. And bear in mind on those number of days, the way I counted that, that is the early dismissal days and the full days together. So, like on calendar A, in this bottom right-hand box here where it says number of school days, 148, that is actually 146 full days and then 2 half days, early dismissal.
The early dismissal days, one is for homecoming, the other one is
In school.
And on calendar B, the other early dismissal day is the last day of the semester for Christmas break.
What would it take to be able to get November 20th, 21st off on calendar A?
If we probably would lose Veterans Day on calendar A, and then we would probably
You have to extend your Christmas break.
yeah, we could do it there, or
Well, keep the
plug it in,
keep
plug
the
it into
Christmas
the
break,
year.
make the 2 holiday breaks, make Thanksgiving like it is, maybe keep it.
We could bring students, we could add one more day. On calendar A, we could add one more student day in May, and then take away Veterans Day, and that would make up those 2 days.
So they'd have to go to Friday the
The
24th.
students would go to the 24th if we were to do that.
so they get the whole week of Thanksgiving and then the 2 weeks for Christmas break.
And is there any issue for us to go on federal holidays? Is there a problem with us doing that?
With us going on that day.
Does having school
Um,
happen?
There's nothing, I mean, we can still go to school on those days, but it's just,
I didn't know.
it's just a,
It's just like perception.
Kind of a general
Yeah.
practice.
Preference, a preference of your district. A lot of districts go, a lot of districts don't.
Okay, I didn't know if there's a,
I don't think you got that out.
and
We've moved to it.
What does that
I
do
thought
for
it
days?
was-
How many days in the first semester, how many days in the second semester? So you're taking out the whole week of Thanksgiving.
so,
cut some days.
Now you're cutting days, so I didn't add them, but
yes, and I'm gonna
you got,
back up to some numbers here. That calendar A, we're looking, there's about 20 days difference, so it's 65 first semester and 83 second semester.
65 and 83.
And then calendar B would be
Close to the same.
66 there, yeah, thank you. 66 first semester and 83 second semester.
There's quite a bit of difference though.
I'm
15
not
days.
sure, I think Mr. Shaw would have that information. I'm
you can,
not sure.
you do, you can show them, yes. What she has was teacher input to the calendar.
Yeah, so a lot of the things, the teachers liked the 2 weeks at Christmas. They didn't want to lose the 2 weeks at Christmas if possible. They liked being able to dismiss early on the last day of the semester, each semester. I think, and I think, Mr. Clark, you can help me here, but I think it made a really long day in the elementary that last Friday before Christmas.
Before Christmas break,
So that was something that they liked on that feature. And then, there were some, it was just kind of mixed on that whole week at Thanksgiving. Some really liked that and some didn't.
Well, Matt made a good point that, that Monday before Thanksgiving, you may not get a bunch of kids. We're not going Monday.
Well, I will say this year, the 2 days before Thanksgiving, our attendance was really, really low. It was
Really low?
Really low, yeah. And if we would, it was low enough those 2 days that if we were going that week, we would have had to really consider whether or not we were going to finish the week, attendance wise.
With it being that close, I would be okay giving
Below
up.
80%.
But, so there's a couple things factor in there. there was illness at that time too.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of people were
Around
sick.
Christmas to, or from Thanksgiving to Christmas, there was a lot of sickness.
So, you know,
And the Monday deal was kind of a big deal.
yeah, and it, yeah, so.
I
So I'd say it was a factor of all those things, you know,
I hate to
that
lose it.
that hit that.
So which one of the teachers like the best?
You know, I don't think that there was a clear winner, but
Okay.
they did like the 2
So
weeks
it's
of
split,
Christmas.
is
So
that
they
what you're saying?
split, yeah, they split.
Oh, good.
And the thing of it is too, there was aspects about each one that they liked, and then the other ones that they didn't, so.
I'd like to be able to.
And then you have,
The full week of Thanksgiving and the Christmas break if we could find a way to make it work. Because like I said, I'd say that Monday and Tuesday before, you may have low attendance, and not just for sickness, but I mean,
and the.
What is October 13? There's a triangle that day on the calendar days.
October 13th, the end of the quarter.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we're not out of school.
No, we're in session, that's
Okay.
just, yeah, that's just the last day of the quarter.
Because there's really, if we leave the 2 weeks and try and give off Monday, Tuesday, that calendar for Thanksgiving, really the only day the first half is the 10th, right? That we could give away and move to make that a longer break. And then we have to add a day to the second half. So then we'd be 65 and 80, 64 and 84. Is that right?
Yes, correct. The,
Is that a big deal that
And
we
I-
have that much difference between semesters?
it depends on what class you're teaching.
Has to be, they don't know how to fix it.
I know, I mean, 20 days is a lot.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of days.
But still, even if we didn't change it, we're still 20 days difference.
For your semester classes, your teachers that teach semester classes, it makes a bigger difference to them.
Let me ask you this, well, no, because, never mind that. You
But-
can't break the quarter after Christmas break because then you lose all of your kids go home and they dump everything out of their head. So they're not gonna have their knowledge when they come back.
And that was one of the calendars, that was one of the other calendars. First semester. It had
Because what if we
ending
change
the
quarter?
semester into January, and it was not very
That'd be
favorable.
tough.
Not
Yeah,
That would be tough.
It was not very favorable, so.
You give kids 2 weeks off and it's gone.
And just, not that it dictates what we have to do, but it is helpful on the high school side for Mr. Talent, that when our semester breaks match up close to what WCC does. It helps with grading.
Well, and WCC just told us this year that for the next school year, they are moving back to cutting at Christmas. Waynesville has been cutting off January like 15th for their in-house semesters, which then puts Mrs. Caffey and I out. And they're basically the whole month of January trying to get transcripts updated and corrected because we're waiting on WCC. But they have told us that Waynesville as a district is moving back to cut at Christmas
Okay, so it'll more coincide with what we're doing here.
Yeah.
with what we're currently practicing.
Okay.
And one of the comments from staff too, that if we think about the difference in days, because I was like you, Mr. Smith, I was trying to find a way to balance it, but I didn't know, I couldn't find a way to balance it very well. But they said, remember though, in the second semester, instructionally, there's 2 weeks worth of testing there that it's not really, we're not losing instruction days, you know, we're coming to school.
Learning days are about the same.
About the same, yeah. So,
I'd be okay giving away the 10th, moving our last day to the 24th, and giving off the whole week of Thanksgiving. And then break for the 2 weeks of Christmas and fill the calendar A. My thoughts are give away the 10th, that's a holiday day currently in calendar A, so we go that week. So that makes up the 20th. Take off the 21st, so you're off the whole week of Thanksgiving. And then the last day would be May 24th instead of the 23rd. So your hours are the same, but it kind of gives us less breaks. We're gone for our time, but then when we're back, kind of. We've gotten away from that anyway. Our calendars before this past year were, we'd come for a couple of days and be off for 3 or 4 days, and that wasn't working well. So, that's just my gut feeling.
Why don't you-
Well,
why don't
we
you
put
just
together a
put
calendar with
that
that.
out there and see what,
I can do that.
any other suggestions for tweaks? I've got several. I said, I've got several that don't be favorable at all, so I'm not even gonna bring them up.
With that starting, when we can't start till the 22nd, your hands are kind of tied.
It really does.
I mean, that basically right there cuts your week plus off from your first semester.
Now, if we were a 5-day week, we'd have a little more flexibility, but
Sure.
with a 4-day week,
It ties you.
it's pretty
Yeah.
limited in your choices.
You're kind of set, yeah.
Did you
So
get
I will-
those, things? Did you get what he was saying?
Yeah.
What he was saying?
Yep. I'll put it together, a new one with those changes, and make sure that there's not something else that I'm not seeing, you know, and then.
Sure, what it be.
So a
And
2-week
we could-
Christmas is a must, huh?
That was a pretty,
Would they get
that
a
was
week
pretty big.
Thanksgiving?
I know. Well, and I'll tell you, you know, it's,
We're only going to be a day or two if we do that. I hate to say only do that.
They get your finals in, they do all your finals in 3 days, 19, 20, 29.
It's interesting because you see, you know, everybody has a little different, some people, they don't care what the calendar is, they say, Mr. Shaw, you tell me when to be here.
At the same
don't-
time.
I
You
know,
know,
you're right, you're right. I get
We
it.
don't have to get.
It's a give and take.
Yes.
And we need to take
Well,
as much as we
Currently,
can.
yes.
I'll work that new one up and then we can take a look at that.
Okay, if you have more tweaks, as you get a chance to look at them, this will probably print them out for you, so you can take them with you. So it's easier to see it on your, kind of in your hand than it is on the
It took me a
screen.
while going back and forth, so I finally had to put it next to Matt's so we could figure out what the.
There's not a whole lot of difference.
There's not a whole lot of
between the
difference
two.
than
There's
it
not. So we'll bring it back next month, hopefully get a motion at that point to adopt the calendar.
Now,
I was able to get connected to Misha, and that was my mistake. Boys will play at 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. I misread that. I apologize for earlier.
no worries.
But the girls.
Girls are at
there is-
4:30.
that's Right,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, their game's early. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we'll table that, Amy.
I've got it, thank you.
Medical.
For our health insurance, we're getting fast to you. What has been given to us is our new medical plan for next year. If you remember, we went with OSBA about 2 years ago. We were able to get out of our self-insured and go with a group insurance, like many other schools, which lowered our cost for our employees, lowered the cost for the district. As we entered into that OSBA, because we were a new school coming in and we weren't vested into that program, we have to pay some fees for that for the first 4 years. So our initial fees are tied to the insurance cost. So the first year we paid quite a bit, then it went down 11%, then it goes down 11% next year, it goes down one more 11%, and then we're even. And then at that point, OSBA puts out an insurance cost for their whole coverage of their whole group. It used to be by school. They used to sit down and figure out your school, and they'd give out what your cost for your school was. And they've quit doing that in the last couple of years, and have just gone to here's for the whole group of OSBA schools, which is about 50 schools that they have combined into this insurance group. And so we were lucky to be able to get into that consortium. And with that consortium, we were able to save, I think when we first got off of self-employment, self-insurance, we were paying $850 per employee, I'm close. And now we're looking at this next year, depending on what plan we choose here, from anywhere around $575 to $555, somewhere in that range. So, just depending on which plan we pick. So, we've come down about $300 over the last 2 years per employee per month for the whole year. Huge savings for us. So we've been able then to help our teachers by hopefully putting, by being able to put some of that money back into the teacher fund and giving them some raises. So anyway, just so you have that information. Okay? Anyway, what we need to do is decide what medical plan we're going to choose for our district to pay. Currently, we pay the 5,000, 6,000 choice HSA plan. It's on the back side or the front side, however you're looking at it. Go ahead.
So which for this year costs us $604?
How much?
$604.
Which one did you say it was?
It's
On the HSA plan.
HSA plan, 5,000, yeah, 5 and 6,000.
60409, what we paid this year, this current year, for this plan of the 5,000,
And
6,000.
then that's gonna go down to 550.
It's gonna go down to 553 for next year because of our 11% coming down. And that doesn't include, there's always, health insurance always goes up. So, with that raise of that insurance and our 11%, we're still saving money from 604 to 553. And Mr. Shaw had put in his recommendations that we move our plan to the next higher level, which would be the 4,500, 5,000 choice HSA plan, and go from paying 604 to paying 575. And that gives them a little better plan for
Deductibles and all that.
deductibles and all that kind of thing. I did a few